All right. All right. All right. Let's hit it. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Catholic Dad Pod in
Remember a
the
couple
garage.
episodes ago when you said sometimes Ryan looks at me and you just don't know what I think of you?
That's correct.
It's happening again.
Excellent. Folks, just wanted you to all know that I'm a little weird, a little quirky. Y'all have probably picked up on that by now. I know Ryan has.
Oh, gosh.
And
just a touch.
that's okay. I said that to my wife the other week, and she just looked at me and said, "Yeah." I was like, I know, but she still married me.
We were watching.
Thanks, babe.
Tess and I are going back through Game of Thrones right now and fast forwarding through all the parts that are not good for the eyes, and which is challenging.
I bet it is.
Yeah, you
lose like 20 minutes.
The episodes are definitely shorter when you do that, but they're in some scene in the first season, and one of the big burly guys from the north looks at the king and goes, "Are you touched, boy?" I was like, man, they had a way with words back then.
Oh, yes,
Not
indeed.
saying that that's you, but
Fair.
How was your birthday? I have a confession to make before you answer that.
Oh, here we go.
I have to admit it to everyone listening. My wife and I and our friends have gone back and forth trying to put some sort of Super Bowl plans forth. And so February 8th has just been drilled through my head. And I'm a PE teacher, so I do remind my students when there are big games, when they are things like that, who's playing and whatnot. So I've been also saying February 8th Super Bowl, not this upcoming weekend, blah, 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 making sure they knew it was 2 weeks away after the last round of the playoffs. And so, like a good best friend, I just assumed that Alex's birthday was on February 8th. So last episode, if you were confused why Alex said, yeah, when this releases on Tuesday, February 3rd, it'll be the day. And my slightly less intelligent self, I have some colorful words I'd like to insert there. But anyway, I didn't know his birthday. I knew it, but I didn't. So yeah, I owe him one.
Irrelevant, folks. None of that matters at all.
How was your birthday?
Yes, it was lovely. Not a bad day in clinic. And then my kids really love singing happy birthday. It's a good time, I have to say. Just listen to them, hear them sing it. And we had a great dinner, had a delicious lamb. Spectacular.
Lamb is a treat every single time. I'm kind of with you. You said before we got on that, like, if it's available on the menu,
I will get it. Yes.
It's so good. It really is.
It was so good.
But it can be done terribly.
Sure. Thankfully, I've never had that experience.
Well, not at the restaurants around
here.
We live in a foodie town for sure.
There's not dozens and dozens of them, but the ones we have, I'm very happy with.
Dude, I would honestly put, a solid 10 to 12 restaurants in our area right here. Our little stretch of 2 cities?
Yeah.
Auburn, Opelika.
Essentially.
I'd put 10 to 12 restaurants up against most of them in big cities. So
I feel that.
Very blessed for that.
And it's just become that way, in the past 10 years, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when we were in college here, it wasn't like that. I mean, you had the Hound and Hamilton's and I'm trying to think what else. Cafe 123 was there. That's where we went the other night. Delicious.
But between all those you just mentioned, and then you throw in Acre, the Depot.
Right. Exactly.
Zazu.
Yep.
I haven't actually had dinner at
Lucy's
Red Pub. Yeah. Lucy's is fantastic.
It is,
yeah, it's just a treat.
It is.
New pizza place opening up in Opelika this week, too. So
that's right. I forgot about that.
Can't wait to try that. Supposedly, it's New York-style pizza. I'll be the judge of that.
You will be the judge of that.
Jersey's pizza is better than New York.
What's the difference?
Jersey's just better.
It's just better? Okay.
No, so basically, it's the dough for sure.
Okay.
The dough is different. The crust is different. It's just that genuine, Northeast corridor way of making pizza. I've never had Chicago deep dish, but I'm not gonna lie to you, when I watch it being made, I'm just like, something's wrong here.
Gotcha.
I just don't.
I have had it in Chicago before, and it was delicious.
I'll bet it was, and I would tear it up.
I know you would.
I really would, but we're getting distracted.
Wow. Great intro, actually. You pulled that at a good spot. Good job.
So yeah, Alex and I have our weekly, what are we talking about? And
sometimes, folks, we are ashamed to admit how soon before the podcast that happens.
No.
But it doesn't matter.
No, it's all just so superbly planned out.
It is. But also, are we really ashamed? Nah.
we're busy people. Everybody's busy
True
in their
that.
own way, shape, or form.
Yes.
And
Which
so
sometimes distracts them.
we got distracted in the hustle and bustle of our week/weekend. And generally, guys, we don't film 3 days apart from
Exactly.
last time.
That really sets us awry.
So anyway, here we are, and I texted Alex. I said, well, since we were distracted, let's talk about just that. Things that distract us, but distract us from what?
Right. So today, guys, we're going to touch on things that distract you from the spiritual life, prayer, mass, devotionals, and then also things that can distract you from the vocation of being a husband or a spouse, because we certainly have female listeners too. So distract you from your vocation in your family life. We are all absolutely guilty of this. We got some ground to cover. So we're going to start off with the obvious one. When Ryan and I bring up distractions, what's number one? There they are. And of course, they're here with us, as they always are, and as they probably are with y'all. The phone, the pahone.
Oh, gosh.
Lucy's going to be so happy I said that.
Is that the new favorite word in the Birch House? Pahone?
Just in regards to you.
Oh, gosh. I gotta stop. I gotta
Just
stop visibly
stop commenting,
reacting.
yes.
Yeah, you guys are just gaining ammunition on me at this point. For the
All right.
longest time, guys, I don't know if you ever heard it, but the song "Bussin'," that was my kryptonite. That Alex just wouldn't go a single hangout without saying something. Anyway, look it up, Google it. It's not worth your time, but you'll find it funny.
Trill song.
That's another thing that distracted us on our phones when he first brought that to my attention, because guess what? We watched it on the phone. So
Yep. Okay, so everyone knows the phone is the main distraction of literally everybody on the planet who has one. So I want to know, okay, on any given work day, tell me throughout the day from A to B, eyes open, eyes closed, how much do you use your phone? When do you use it? What do you use it for? Give me a quick boom, 1 minute, your day. When do you use your phone?
I wake up, thank the Lord for a new day, and I'm immediately on it to mainly check the weather.
Sure.
As a coach,
I get it.
kind of thing's important. Check the weather. Then I'm not really on it until I get to work. But again, by the time I cook breakfast, get to work and everything, I'm not super on my phone. Lunchtime, I usually get super distracted. And I have a very long lunch period, especially for an elementary school PE teacher, which is a really great blessing, but I can get lost on my phone.
Okay.
That's the bulk of it. That's the majority of my screen time right there. And then, of course, if we say our prayers with the little man and Tessa's in there putting him down for the last 5 minutes, and I come out in the kitchen, if I finish the dishes or something, I'll watch something until she comes out. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was, "Nothing."
Oh, sure.
Nothing important. So, yeah, I'm still on it more than I need to be. But
I feel you.
What about you?
So, alarm goes off for the gym in the morning, and I'm up. I'm half awake. So, get dressed. I go to the living room, and generally I sit in the chair in the living room for about 10 minutes to just get awake, essentially. I have to. I can't just get up and run out the door. So when I sit down in the chair, I do open up the phone and read my gospel reflection. I read the gospel of the day and do the reflection. So I can at least say that's the first thing I look at. Then generally, I'm like, what's the temperature outside? And then I'll probably will look at our Instagram, look at the sports scores from the night before, and then generally I'm making my protein milk and I go. At the gym, I listen to Pints. That's really all I do. The gym.
Yeah, I didn't mention podcasts, but I guess that would count.
Pints, yeah.
Yep.
And then after that at home, it's just kind of a whirlwind until work. Continue the podcast on the drive to work, and then during work, I do not keep my phone on me. I do not have my phone when I'm seeing patients. It's on my desk, which I like. First of all, they're so big, and bulky in my front pocket. I don't want that thing in my pocket. And then, I'm talking to patients. I'm not looking at my phone. The only time I pick it up throughout clinic is if I'm checking up to date or Hippocrates for a clinical thing, which is nice to have. It's funny. We're closed from 12 to 1 for lunch. So I finish notes if I need to, and then eat lunch, and then we'll chill till we start again. But the phone is generally with me then. On Fridays I pray rosaries because I'm fasting, and great Fridays, sure, but otherwise, you know, I find if I pull up YouTube and I'm watching just like a long video about, I'm actually learning something, it's cool. But I do notice if I get like lost in shorts or something, then
Yeah.
like I actually do feel my brain turn to goo every now and then, and it's pretty bad.
That's my biggest problem.
Yeah. And that's the only place I do that. It's just lunch
Mhm.
at work. Otherwise, I never do that. But I do really feel like my brain turned to goo sometimes.
But
And like
that
my
feels
algorithm even
good
is,
sometimes too.
well, yeah, well, when I get to that point of the day, I've been talking to people nonstop for 4, 5 hours, and I just want to not talk.
Mhm.
And it does, yeah. Um, yeah. And then post work, and I get home, phone's down on the counter, and I truthfully, I mean, I might look at it for like a second randomly, but I really don't. Like I'm with the kids, dinner prep, and then it's, to dinner, to bath, to bed. And then when everybody's down, Lucy and I might look at them for a few minutes, and then we're doing our rosary, maybe watching something, talking. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
I've over past year, I definitely am better. Um, but with little kids, it's always, you want to minimize it as much as possible. And they see they're so intrigued and interested, and you see how easily they're drawn to it. So I really, 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 you know, I really try. I try.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not perfect, but it's just, we're all, we're all addicted to them. They all give us the hits.
My little man, like we don't do screens. We don't, I think I've mentioned before, like unless a football game is on, we don't do TVs. We basically only expose him to a phone if we're FaceTiming relatives.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's still like, as soon as he sees my phone on the counter or even my watch light up,
Yeah.
he wants it.
Hmm.
And so we do try to keep it away from him. But like if I find myself sitting side by side with my wife and I'm scrolling, most of the time she's going to give me that gentle comment of like, what you doing? And so, okay, put that down. I get it. But I will find myself like in my head as I'm letting my brain turn to mush. And I'll have the thought cross in the back of my head of like, talk to your wife, you idiot. Like,
Hmm.
put your phone down. But again, like I think that's a addictive part of it is like, sure, the videos can be entertaining and they're short and they're just nonsense in your brain, but like it's just funny stuff. It just feels good to just keep scrolling and
Right.
you don't think it's harming anything until you realize that it really does or can snowball into a very big distraction in
Hmm.
your marriage and your parenthood, at your job, things like that. Like we all have stories of coworkers or colleagues who have been in trouble or sometimes let go because they just can't get off their phones. And it's just in that sense, I think we both are on the same page of a good separation of when it's appropriate,
Hmm.
a good definition of that. But no, I can get lost on it. My lunch breaks, I feel bad. Sometimes I'm sitting in the office with I work with the sweetest woman in the world who's my assistant, and sometimes it's like a whole hour lunch break. We don't even talk. It's like I'm
Sure.
on my phone, she's on hers, and
Yeah. And it's great to be able to sit and be quiet and not talk, but there's also like, you really know someone when you can just sit in silence with them, but the phones aren't true silence. You
no,
know
it's
what I
not.
mean? It's not true silence. But also like sitting here talking to you is way better than looking at my phone every day of the week plus infinity, essentially.
Oh,
Like it's
stop.
just, man, I didn't even mean that, but it's true.
Oh,
Yes,
stop.
or for it to be like that,
Okay,
whatever.
so
But anyways,
I gotta
yeah.
ask you though, when you're doom scrolling, what are your favorite reels?
So I okay when I'm actually okay, most of the time when I'm on my phone, what I'm looking for is intentional.
Mm,
I'll say that. I don't doom scroll much. I will I'll pull up our Instagram and look to see if we've gotten a message or a comment, and that'll lead to me like looking through our feed a little bit. I don't watch Instagram reels ever. I do not. Like not just like click reels and just scroll. I don't do
right.
that. Yeah. Like
I
certainly if
do.
someone's posted something, I don't.
Sometimes I do.
Um and hey, no judgment here, folks. I'm just saying what I do and I don't do. But but what's nice is like our feed is Catholic,
Mhm.
so like it's more interesting stuff, beautiful
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. Um, but it's once again lunch at work, it's when I'll pull up YouTube and I'll see if, I get like a interesting like 12-minute video I might like to watch, and learn something. But if not, like, how the YouTube shorts will come up in like little groups of four, when you're scrolling. So I'll just like click one, watch it, click one, watch it. And I always go back. I don't go up, 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 up and go. I'll look and see what intrigues me. So it's generally like it's Catholic stuff or some like clip from a movie, like a quick scene about
Okay.
it or something. Maybe it might be like something, you know, political that happened that someone's got an opinion on real quick.
Yeah.
Um, that's really about it. If it's some like random thing or like, fights or whatever, I'm going past that. If it's something that's really just like juvenile or like uh I don't know, criminal or negative, I'm going past it. I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time with that for sure. So a lot of little like quick movie clips and Catholic stuff. That's what it is most of the time.
You're a better man than me because I'll get some of the political clips. I'll get a lot of cooking stuff. I
Oh,
love cooking stuff on
nothing
there.
wrong with that.
Different little recipes or healthy things or just giant like sandwiches and stuff. There's right now a sandwich
Mhm.
shop that keeps popping up in Middletown, New Jersey that I can't wait to go home and try.
Cool.
Not really home anymore, but yeah. No, but a lot of it is nonsense. Like there was a while there I was stuck on like videos of people pranking their friends
Gotcha.
and it would just pop up and I would just get a chuckle out of it.
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
there was one series of videos where some dude just tries to eat the most rancid stuff in the world,
Mm,
and obviously you can see how that would go, and
sure.
but it would just crack me up. Like I get the most nonsensical stuff scrolling through my feed. I've got to get off of it. I know I do. The good thing is I have plenty of work to do. So nowadays it's like, all right, I'll give myself this amount of time and then I'm gonna get
Sure.
back to the
Yeah.
grind. But
I hear you.
it can distract me in all aspects of my life
Yeah.
if I let it. So that one was definitely an easy one. Had to be number one. Kind of makes you miss the old LG flip phones,
I hear you,
but
man. Yeah. They're almost essential now in the way of, and they're really not. I mean, but like the way life is set up with all the stuff, it definitely makes it a lot easier having it, all the things you
yeah,
can do from it. I mean, there's no doubt. Um, I don't know how people used to drive long distances without maps, man. I'll tell you that. I have mad respect. And even when I first started driving, we didn't have the phone and maps and everything. I had to
I'm
go online and like
mhm.
go to like mapquest.com and look up some directions and even like print them out.
I am
Sound
just
old
old
saying that,
enough
but yeah.
to remember going places with printed out
Yeah, man,
directions.
for real. Same.
And you kids these days, you don't know the struggle of having to turn the page and or find where you left off on a route that had 1,000 turns on it. So yeah, that was fun, but good times.
Good times,
Blessing and a curse.
for sure.
1,000%.
Yeah. If I could give any quick piece, is like once you get home, you're with your family, have the place you're going to put it down and just forget about it. I mean,
Mhm.
really just forget about it. Turn it over, put it on silent, just forget about it. Yeah, that's about it. But we all have to do better. We all have to cut it more and more and more. For sure. Lent's always a good time to start with that too. Just
Yeah, I
saying.
should do something with my phone for Lent. Tess and I were just talking about what our Lenten challenges are going to be. We're trying to do some stuff together as well as focus on ourselves a little bit too, and maybe that'll be a challenge too for sure. But
Nice.
I think what pairs pretty easily with the phone is anything with the screen. And I mentioned just a minute ago about rewatching Game of Thrones, and I love the fantasy genre. I love like call me a nerd. If you're into any of that, go read Brandon Sanderson. He didn't have to pay me for anything. That dude's just a wizard with the way he writes. But I love that genre. So Game of Thrones is like an easy one. I watched it one night at about midnight because Tess was sleeping. The baby was, up and down out of his sleep. And so I just turned it on and there we are. We started watching it again. But especially when it comes to like a binge worthy series, I can find excuses to watch that show over praying, over actually conversing with Tess or, hanging out with anyone, but it can definitely detract from my duties as a husband. And yeah, sometimes I just have to look at myself and just say, we don't have to watch an episode every night. Like maybe have a conversation.
Yeah,
So that's a challenge for me too.
I
The,
feel
the
you.
screens in general, but TV is just another way to turn your brain off and let it go to mush for a second
Yep.
and watch a good story. Maybe we need to do a little more selective choosing of when we do
Hmm.
that. But it was The Chosen, so like I didn't feel that
Yeah,
bad.
no, I get that.
I was like, all right, we're not really talking, but we would then reflect on like how moving parts of the gospels are and things like that. So that's obviously got more benefit than
For
just
sure.
any other show.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I can get lost in that too.
Yeah, man. And there have been some great shows made over the decades, of course. But I mean, basically, what you have to ask yourself, and I include myself too, of course, is just, you know, am I doing this instead of praying, of
Yep.
taking a holy 15 minutes? I mean, you have to understand the balance. Everything we have, our Lord gave us. We're also extremely blessed, despite any struggles we have and difficulties we're going through. We have this life, and you know, He's always with us. He wants to know us, and He wants us to know Him. So, if at the end of the day you've watched 2 episodes of something and have given no time to prayer, then you do need to reflect on that for sure. And I certainly
Yeah.
have not been perfect on that for a long time. I was very, very imperfect with that. We over the past 2 years, especially, the amount of TV we watch is less and less and less. We've had our handful of couple shows at a time, maybe but you know those have dwindled, or ended, so we're done with them. Um, I've really enjoyed getting back into reading lately, which has been
Mhm.
nice. I find reading is it's hard to call reading a distraction. I don't know. It can be, definitely, if you're really into it, but it's certainly, you don't feel your brain turning to mush when you read, at least.
No, like
Definitely. Yeah. You're engaged.
you can sit on the couch next to your wife and both
Exactly.
read your own book and still
Yes.
feel connected to
Definitely.
your wife. Tess and I have had
Definitely.
that conversation before
Yeah.
too.
You're a little more like, on that same wavelength for sure. Definitely.
I've got a backlog of books that I can't wait to read and
Same.
I've just not gotten to yet. So I'm looking forward to that the springtime for
Yeah.
sure. I sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when it comes to the TV shows, though, like definitely save it for last. Like
Yeah.
not as the best for last. No, no, no. But like, for us, it's, kids are in bed, maybe, showers, whatnot. And then go ahead and pray your rosary. Go ahead and do your devotional. Like, do what you really need to do before you get that little end of the night treat. That's the big thing.
You know what trips me up sometimes though is I say my rosary in the morning
Right.
and I'll say like a little personal prayer as well at the end of my rosary right before I head into work for the day. And so sometimes it's like I'll watch that show and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm good though. Like I already prayed.
Sure, sure.
But it's like, hey, a-hole,
Hmm.
you should probably pray at the end of every day as well. And we do. We do the litany of the hours most nights, unless we absolutely have a brain fart and
Sure.
which happens once or twice. But yeah. Want to know quick story before we stop talking our listeners' ears off about TV. When I was in college, this will show you just how far I've come.
Mm.
When I was in college, I used to make fun of my brothers for watching nerdy fantasy stuff,
Mm.
like Game of Thrones specifically, and I was like, "You and your Dungeons and Dragons nonsense! I'm just too cool for that."
Gotcha.
So I forget what class I was taking at the time, but when I finally got talked into by my brothers to start Game of Thrones, I remember we were living in our college house. All of us were living together. I sat in the corner chair on my laptop and I watched the first episode. And I was like, all right, it's not bad. I watched the second episode. I ended up watching, at the time, there were 3 seasons out. I watched all 30 of those episodes in, I think, 2.5 days. and I didn't go to a single class, and I convinced myself, oh, they dropped the lowest test grade. I'm not studying for that test. And I watched TV like a bump on a log for 3 straight days.
Right on.
Awful.
Wow.
Awful. I was under some spiritual warfare for sure, but I wasn't smart enough to figure that out either. So anyway, good times, proud times. And I'm sure my parents are going to listen to this and be like, yeah, that's why you took so long to graduate, idiot. But it led me to my wife. So kiss my rear. Anyway, what you got next?
Oh, let's see. Where are we going to go? Okay, so kind of branching sort of TV, sort of not. Especially with us guys, little sports and games, doohickeys. Definitely come. I would say, yeah, a long way. I have to say that because that's true. But if you know what time the kickoff is for everything and what the scores were and what the stats were, and you're spending your time sitting there rewatching the highlights over and over again when your team won and you feel all good and you haven't prayed, you have a problem and you have to figure that out. I had that problem for a long time, definitely.
Or if you're checking your fantasy lineup before you've prayed that morning, things like that.
Yes.
And I have been there. Oh, I've been there. Like sports around the world, but firsthand experience in the United States is its own religion.
Yep.
In the worst possible way.
Oh yeah. If we not made, but every year I saw this stat, people will probably know what I'm talking about. If we took all the money that was bet March Madness every year, just from like 1 year, essentially, we could basically end world hunger. So if we just pooled all that money one time, we could take care of that.
It's so much fun to watch. I used to be so hooked on it, and I'm positive that there were countless Sundays in my younger years that, I'm not going to wake up and go to the early mass, and then, I'm not going to go to the one in the middle of the day because the Eagles kick off at 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, whatever. I got to be honest, at that time in my life, I don't even know if I knew the mass times, but I knew I didn't care about church attendance. I didn't care about sacraments. I didn't care about living that way, the truth and the life. I cared about watching the Eagles.
Sure.
I wouldn't miss an Auburn game. If I could find the Flyers on TV, not really the Phillies, because honestly, guys, I can't stand watching baseball on TV. I like going to games live, but I can't do baseball on TV. But yeah, any other Philly sport or Auburn sport, I was like, I'm in. I'm watching it. Or college football in general. Like I could sit down. It's like the only sport where I can sit down, and even if it's not my team, I'm like, oh, these two teams are legit.
Yeah, right. They're engaged. You're engaged. Yeah.
So I have had periods in my life where I treated it like religion, and I've had periods in my life where, as a husband, thankfully, I kind of started to cut this pretty quickly. But when Tess and I were dating, it was a non-negotiable. I was going to watch the games. We didn't argue about it. She was a champ. She'd cheer for the Eagles too. She got her shirts, all that stuff. But yeah, I've come a long way in that, where it's like, I think I watched 5 or 6 Eagles games this year. My students now come to school and they're like, did you see X, Y, and Z? Did you see he threw for this and he ran for that? And I'm like, no, I didn't see it. But there are loads of people. And if you're listening to this and you're one of them, let's try to fix this. That it would come to an argument if you're not allowed to watch your team.
Right.
That should not be the case. Proud that I've kind of fixed that, and now my wife knows, if there's something we need to do or just we should be doing as a family, that it's got to take a back seat.
Absolutely. And I mean, we live in Auburn, Alabama, a college town with a big SEC school, with tradition and all that stuff. And I mean, we hear about it all the time, left and right, how much people spend on tickets, how much people donate, and all the NIL crap that's flying around out there. And Auburn loves to run through coaches and all the good stuff. And ever since I became a father, that's really when it changed for me. Like, what do I really care about? I care about my was just my daughter, and then now my sons, and then their well being and their little screen time, and doing things with them instead. Our faith priorities. Like it's just 20-year-olds playing a game. I mean, that's all it
That's the
is.
craziest
And
part.
then the NFL is just 25, 30-year-olds playing a game. I mean, that's it's really all it is. We really can't control it. Your superstitions don't do anything. And
Not even if you're a little stitious.
not even a little stitious, not even 1%. And we all know it. We all see people who get like so wound up and angry, who like fight outside stadiums and get in people's faces. And like, think about if Jesus walked up on you and saw you doing that. I mean, really, like, and I have been there. I have done it, folks. I have
Oh
not
yeah.
like I haven't fought anybody, definitely not. But the obsession over it, like, it's ridiculous. We're all ridiculous, completely ridiculous.
I
All
used
of
to
us.
get that way, man. I used to get angry, like not it wouldn't ruin my day, but like I would hang on to if my team lost. I don't know if I've fought anybody. A couple skirmishes maybe.
Got a little heated. Sure.
Yeah, a couple apple sauces and couple sodas
Check.
and not so much inhibition anymore, but video games is another area that personally I stopped playing video games years ago. Like when Tess and I started dating, I'd play here and there. When the Harry Potter game came out, Tess and I together like did it occasionally. Um but no, like I don't do it, but like I know so many people. There's one person I'm thinking of right now that used to get flipping irate at video games, and I can promise you when he hears this, he's gonna text me and I'll let you know.
Nice.
But I'm talking controllers chucked across the room,
Right.
cussing each other out. This is bull, this isn't fair, this, that, and the other. But I see so many grown men that I know who have like carved out time in the evening to sit and like go online and play, whether it's your Call of Duty or I don't know what other big online games there are now, but definitely Call of Duty's always been popular.
Sure. Yeah.
I just don't understand it. I have so much crap. Me and my wife have so much crap to
Oh,
do.
yeah, for
and
sure.
we have one child.
Right.
But I have so much crap to do with her at the end of a day to reset and then hopefully get our own time together.
Right.
Where it's like, she would throw a plate at me, rightfully so.
Yep.
If I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to go and play my game for a couple hours. I'll meet you in bed. Not to mention, TMI, guys, when are you supposed to have your time together as husband and wife if you're going to play video games?
Way better.
She falls asleep. I don't understand. That's just me. Maybe I don't get it. So
I'm one of the few here. I grew up without video games, none. So my parents did not let us have video games.
Part of me wants to call you deprived, and then the other part of me is like, good for you.
Yeah. So, all right, folks, buckle up. Yeah, my parents from the get-go were, you're just not having them. No. And I wasn't like a fighter about that. I was just like, okay, whatever, I certainly went to friends' houses and they had them. But here's the thing, I sucked. So I would just get destroyed. And then you're like, this isn't fun.
I don't enjoy this at all.
No, at all. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to play. Yeah. Like, I would go to people's houses and the parents would be like, oh, yeah, they're not really playing video games because I sucked and I didn't want to play them, and yeah, it's hilarious. So when I was 16, my dad decided I'm going to get an Xbox 360. So he bought one. I remember, and he bought like 3 games.
What was Haas playing?
Oh, Haas never played a single game. They freaking got a Wii too, and they played the Wii some, with sports and everything.
That old tennis elbow working.
Yeah, exactly. But like the Xbox 360 was strictly like a DVD player, and that was it, man. But so I'll never forget. He got it, and like the day after he got it, I was like, okay, let me see. And I put in, it was one of the like World War II Call of Duty games. I don't remember which one, but I put it in. I sat there. I started playing it, and I played it for about 15 minutes. And I just was like, this sucks. I don't enjoy this at all. So I turned it off and never looked back, and that's it.
Yeah.
So here's what I have to say, though. I don't think video games intrinsically have anything positive that they give you in any way. I think that I don't think they're necessarily harmful. I think they absolutely can be. I think they bring out a lot of bad in people, especially like online live playing for sure.
That anonymity of
Yeah, definitely.
trash talking.
For sure.
Yeah.
But like I think if video games were taken away from the world would be a better place. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully they've just never been a distraction for me personally, which I'm thankful for. I'm glad for. And my kids will not have them.
Me and my
That's it.
brothers I love that you said your kids won't have them because mine won't either. But like me and my brothers wouldn't really play the Call of Duties. And so we played Halo a little bit, but for us it was always sports games. We
Gotcha.
would whether it was 2K basketball, it was almost always 2K basketball. We would all create ourselves. And my brother would be a 7'6" Victor Wembanyama running around who could do everything on the court. And I'd be like the 6 foot Allen Iverson lightning quick guard. We'd
Gotcha.
get all our attributes as maxed out as possible, and then we would join a team and we'd do a dynasty, and we would battle each other in free agency and drafts and this, that, and the other. So
Okay.
it was like our introduction to fantasy football, basically. But that was fun, and it actually did breed a lot of fun memories and camaraderie. But so I give you that, like, video games don't have to be bad.
No, they
Because
don't
I have
to
a
be.
lot of really fun memories. Like if I could go on a boys trip with my brothers and sit down in front of a PlayStation
Yeah.
and just do that for like a day and a half, like
Sure.
it'd be the worst time spent because we all have so much to do, but
Right.
it would be very fun.
Yeah. I think video games are meant for like middle schoolers and teenagers, like once you're an adult and, like I'm saying you can have them, I guess, and do it, but like, yeah, you do have a lot more stuff to do. And like, if it's taken away from responsibilities or put more on your spouse, you got to stop, or you got to really cut back, or you got to,
Agreed.
yeah, or you have to actually do carve out that like half an hour.
I
where you
mean,
get
the
to do it,
money, the layout, some of these friends of mine have, or strangers that I have seen online, of like the multiple screens and an entire room of your home dedicated. I'm like, well, y'all's homes are bigger than mine for sure. I don't have a room to dedicate to anything, but oh gosh, yeah, it's just crazy. But I guess like you could that goes into hobbies, right? That's something else. As I was, thinking of things that have distracted me in the past too, is like it's a hobby, and it's a hobby that's going to drain money from you, but your time as well. And it's a distraction that could be, that time could be spent growing closer to the Lord in faith, or just living out the Lord's vocation for you, whether it's in marriage or, I'm sure there's some priests that play video games too, but there was a time in my life, golf was one of those things too. Like if I could play golf every weekend, I was gonna.
Gotcha.
And knowing that that's a minimum 4-hour commitment.
Sure.
And knowing back in the day that was also 6 beers on the course, and I might have a cigar and just live it up out in the sunshine with the boys while I left test doing what. I'm not like that anymore. I'd love to get out and play golf, but it's more so because I get to be with my dad or my brother or my friends and just enjoy it. I'll have 2 or 3 sodas and ride around and smack a ball around and not get angry about it. But not only did I spend so much time, money, and energy on it that I could have spent in more important places, but it would also drive me banana sandwich crazy, dude. Like I was the club thrower, the cusser, I'm never playing this game again. I have literally left the golf course on the 6th hole because I was so angry how I started the round. Like that's how bad it got. And there's nothing that you should get that upset about.
Nope. It's not worth that, brother. Not
My
at all.
wife, for anybody listening who might be able to relate, Tess and I were riding. I don't know for a fact if we were married yet or not, maybe engaged. She rode with me as she tended to do for, still does occasionally. And I got so angry for the umpteenth time. And she just looked at me. She's like, if this is going to happen, please don't ever bring me out here again. And that was the real kick in the teeth where I was just like, dude, what are you doing? And now I can say confidently, like, I don't really get that pissed about anything in my life.
Good.
But for some reason back then it was, I acted like I was trying to earn my tour card and I was
Sure.
trying to go play against Scotty Scheffler on the weekend. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah, man.
So that's my 2 cents.
No, I
But
feel you.
any hobby that takes up that much space in your head,
Sure.
it's taking up the space that should be used for the better parts of your life.
Well, I hear about, you know, I get let in people's worlds every day, and I'll hear wives talk about husbands who they don't do crap, I mean, nothing, like they're they're just like husbands are just bumbling around. They don't think anything of it is the thing, they're doing their computer thing or their engineering hobby or their yeah sport thing. It might be golf or traveling to every single game. I mean, whatever it
Mhm.
might be, but I mean, you can see like the the isolation, the hurt, the overwhelming emotion sometimes in some of these wives, these spouses. Um that being said, I think being introspective and looking inward is pretty challenging and pretty hard to do, and it is very humbling for most of us, myself included. Um but if you're not doing anything to help out around the house, or like if you never have the feeling like, man, I'm doing a lot around here, like, you kind of have that wonder, like, you're probably not doing enough,
Agreed.
if that makes sense. Like if you don't feel a little overwhelmed by all you're doing sometimes, then you're probably not doing enough, to be honest. Yeah.
Christian men, Catholic men, you're not supposed to be that husband. Like, it's just not in the cards for us. We serve our wives, we serve our children, we serve our Lord. We take that example of Saint Joseph,
hmm
we take it seriously. Um,
My wife sent me this today. I need to say this now. Um, Here we go. This is so cool. This was very touching that she sent this to me, but it's every day with Saint Joseph, and it was a full day can be exhausting, and this is certainly true for fathers. The end of a workday is often a prelude to a busy evening with family. It requires self control to overcome a flagging spirit and to be present and loving at home. St. Joseph had to push past his fatigue. He may have had tough days, but God's grace gave him the power of self control to be loving anyway. And I told my wife, how much I appreciated that and how kind that was of her to send that. But like every minute of every day, as far as Monday through Friday goes, I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. Exactly. Like you tell me, Alex, what are you doing at 6:36 in the morning? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I have just finished my breakfast and then I'm going to take my shower. And then after that, get dressed, getting the kids up, emptying the dishwasher for my wife. And the motto I have at home is put your spouse in position to succeed. It's like it can be very little things. Like for me, like that's a big one. Empty the dishwasher for her before, even if I'm going to be 10 minutes late, like empty the dishwasher for her. She's got 3 kids and to do that and then try to make breakfast and all this stuff. Every time I walk past like David's nursery, I unfold the sleep sack and lay it out perfectly.
mhm.
So it's like you just throw them down in it and go. Like instead of trying to like put them down and get it ready, just these little things like that. Like take the dirty clothes and throw them in the hamper. Um, Take out the bag of dirty diapers and throw them in the trash outside and put a new one in. Like there are tons of little things you can do in passing to put your spouse in position to succeed. And that is our responsibility, dads. I mean, it really, really is. It will make you appreciate all the fine details of your home, make you feel better about what you're doing, and help your spouse. So start looking for those little opportunities.
I'm gonna say this too. So I agree with what you're saying. I tell Tess my little motto is like anything I can do to make your day or your night a little bit easier kind of goes hand in hand with what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And um whether it's I'm on the way out in the evening for a game or I'm on the way out in the morning for work. I try to do that. But I will say, and this might be selfish sounding, I hope it's not. If you're a wife and you're listening to this, like Alex just read that message from his wife,
Mm.
the occasional, not all the time, but the occasional acknowledgement.
It's huge. It's
Oh my
very
gosh,
important. Yeah.
like a little text that just says, "Thank you so much for doing this. It made my night easier. I love you." That'll carry me for a month.
Mhm.
It will. And it's like I can't be the only man that gets fueled by just that little bit. And I don't ever want my wife groveling at my feet. She never would. But like, oh my gosh, you do this, you do that. And like, I don't need it all the time, but it is just so moving and so fueling to have a little bit of that recognition as a husband, as a father, as a man in general. So I could give 2 cents to any wife or girlfriend or young single woman, anyone listening. Men do the same thing because our wives do way more than we do, even
Yep.
on our best day.
Yep.
And that thank you goes a long way for her too. So notice these things and don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, yeah. After, we say grace every night, say thank you, mama. And the kids do too, and that's the habit, just little things. And you know, tell her she's a great mom because she is. Tell her I appreciate her because I do. Tell her how much the kids love her because they really do,
They really do.
really do. Um, but yeah, we all do need some of that. We all really do. I mean, we all can think about, in shows and movies, how often that's a plot in it, of like
Mhm.
someone doesn't feel seen or, appreciated and they go off and like that happens in real life too, so we need to pick each other up and then tell your friends that too and their spouses as
Yeah,
well, like y'all are doing a great job. I mean, really,
absolutely.
yeah, people.
Unrelated,
Mm,
but I found myself reflecting on this as you were on your way over here. I get distracted with work. Now, work is essential.
sure.
I provide. I do as much as I can. My wife literally thanked me yesterday for, coaching multiple seasons and, all the hours that we put in actually away from the home earning a paycheck. But when I say I get distracted with work, I don't mean that I'm wrong for pouring in effort because I do believe that you glorify God by giving your best in all aspects of your life. I get distracted in a sense of I will procrastinate things that I can and should get done at work and save some of it to do in the comfort of my home that then detracts from time
Okay.
I could spend with my Lord in prayer, my wife, or my kid. And it's usually little things like maybe a lesson plan that only really takes me 10 to 15 minutes to finish up. But it's just like, I argued with Tess the other night because she said, "Hey, why don't you have to do your lesson plans?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, why don't you get that done?" I was like, "Because I don't want to do it right now." And I stood my ground like the manly man that I am. And I was like, "No, I said I didn't need to do it. It's not that important. I'll do it in the morning." But it's just like, yeah, but you could have done that a week ago and never had to have an argument. You could have never had to sit at your computer and be silent and just stare at a screen again. It's just like, do you have that tendency like I do, or you're pretty good at getting those things done at work?
I don't have a choice, thankfully, which is good. So I could like get my laptop set up to bring it home from work and do stuff at home. It's the last thing I want to do. I don't have time to do that crap. It wouldn't be till the very end of the day
Mm,
anyways. And I just don't need nor want to. So work, I always say home is 1A, work is 1B. Um when I'm in work, it's full work. When I'm at home, it's full home. There's nothing I take home because I can't. My computer isn't set up to do it. I see my patients. I chart my notes for them. I review labs and scans as they come, make a phone call or two if I need to. When I'm out of there, it's gone. I don't have
good
to
for
do
you.
a thing. So it is a blessing. The job I have, the clinic I'm in is, you know, sets me up for success in that regard, which is
Mm.
great. The only I've always been very good, thankfully, at compartmentalizing my work, and I just don't define myself by it at all. I've never been one to like come home from the hospital shift, like when I was in a bedside nurse, and talk about that. Every now and then you got something really good that's funny to share, but for the most part, yeah.
Trust me, medical field. I've got some doctor friends. There's some
So,
funny stuff that goes down.
mhm. But my job now, no, I literally, it's hustle bustle. I'm doing it as quick as I can so I can get home to my wife and my kids. That's it.
Yeah. We have moments where kids test us some online stuff where like it's the both of us and we'll set aside and get that stuff done. But
Sure,
it's definitely something I need to work on is just like chipping away and clearing time in my week when I have the time to just plow through and do it. Which, the distractions we just talked about earlier,
sure.
especially my phone at work,
Got it.
you know, would be a nice start to put that thing away and
There you go.
actually get ahead on some things. Dude, when I can just sit down and it's amazing. Like those, when I actually do it, those are the weeks where, oh, wouldn't you know it? I did pray with my wife that week.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't you know it? I did the morning hours, not just the evening hours,
Yep.
you know, and wouldn't you know it? We had better time as a husband and wife. So
Understood.
yeah,
Yep. I
crazy.
do. Yep.
But my vices, man, I do it all the time. I have always been the I do my best work in the last minute type of guy.
Nice.
Like
No.
schoolwork, you name it, job, not so much my career now, but odd jobs before
Sure.
teaching and but
Oh,
yeah, I've always succeeded by just waiting until I had to do it and then getting it
mhm.
done. And it definitely backfired in college, which was why I was there for so long. But it's just the way I've always lived. It's a continuing effort for me to break those habits and
Yeah.
be more proactive on the front end.
Well, it's always a whoops. It's always a process just because we're always trying to get better and we're trying to go closer with God. But um, I've talked to Lucy about this multiple times over the past 3, 4 years, since becoming a parent, but like, the amount of sports I've watched has become less and less. I've quit in fantasy football leagues, and just, I'm not gonna lie, this past season, I didn't check anything on it the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season. Just I didn't care at all. Um, I get home from work as soon as I possibly can every day, and I just like, especially with the sports, going back to that, the I I can watch Auburn get wrecked, turn it off and go, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And that's it. And
We're numb to it.
oh yeah, part of it is that, being a little numb. The other part is like I actually had to train myself. I mean, it was like a, you know, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, like retraining my brain to like, you don't care. This doesn't matter. As soon as I started to feel the little, ugh, like I just, nope, don't care. It's all good. Like, and it took a good full like 2 season cycles to do that, but now I've pretty much got it down, and it's great, to be honest with
It
you.
is.
It is, because it, takes that load off your plate, save energy, time, and all that, and, like, I mean, I didn't watch a single Saints game this season, none. Mostly they're not on, but also, like, you know, way more enjoyed going out on a run when they're napping in the middle of the day, or relaxing with my wife or just sitting outside if it was nice or, you know, cooking something. I mean, it you know, just doesn't matter. But to say, but also to kind of grow on that, this is what I really meant to start with is you can cut out your distractions. That's great. But if you don't have a plan for what you're going to give God and when, then you're going to screw yourself
Mhm.
essentially. So you need to have a plan. Like if you want to pray the liturgy of the hours, morning and evening or evening in bed time, whatever it might be, like you just say, okay, this is like what I'm going to do and when I plan to do it. If you want to do a rosary by yourself or with your wife, you're going to do it. You need to have a plan for it. If you want to read that gospel reflection, in the reading or the mass readings for the day, you need to know when you're going to do it. You can't just cut things out and just think it's kind of going to happen because it's not. That's a really, really, really important thing. Something I've I realize more and more, um, it's hard, days throw curveballs at you, but you need to have a plan and start off small. Don't go crazy because you'll get disappointed, think, I'm not doing it. And then you'll just kind of fall back into all the distractions. Start off small. And don't think that you can't ever watch a game or ever watch a show, like by any means.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. If you're still hanging with us right now, Alex and I are not saying like if you enjoy video games, you should never do it again, or if you want to go golf, you should never do it. Like
Yeah, absolutely not.
you, oh
Absolutely
no,
not.
you shouldn't even take 5 minutes to just sit on your phone. Like just in moderation. It's all everybody needs, hang out with the guys or, a girls' night, this, that, and the other.
Oh, yeah.
But
We're just saying if those things are taking away from your prayer life entirely or from your duties as a spouse, then you do need to cut back and you need to reevaluate.
yeah,
Yes. But absolutely, it's okay to take a little time. But as long as you're making time for our Lord and you're giving your family what you owe them, what you signed up for, that's
yes.
the big thing.
One one distraction that I've said this before and I love it every week is when I do get time to sit and talk about our upcoming conversation, me and you, but talk about it with Tess.
Sure.
And we were talking about distractions and the easy ones that we've kind of run through that I think everybody can relate to in some sort of fashion. But as my wife tends to do, she thinks a little deeper than I can sometimes, which is Alex does the same thing. And her distraction was, and let me preface it by saying we had just discussed that it takes away from pursuing our Lord and carrying out our vocation. And she said sometimes her biggest distraction can be her own plans or expectations.
Hmm.
And that could be big picture, it could be very small and short term, but who can't relate to that feeling of expectation? This is what I expect, this is what I want, and when it goes poorly, we focus so much on how do I get myself back on the track to pursue my goal instead of actually asking the question, what is God teaching me through this process?
Yeah.
And my whole life has been that that train of thought right there of nope, my plan got derailed.
Hmm.
How do I get back to it? Not my plan was different than God's plan. God, show me which path I'm supposed to be on. Pick up my pieces and help me put them back together in the picture that you formed for me, not the picture that I had in my head. That's a distraction.
Sure.
It's a little deeper than a cell phone, I think.
That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, I have said to Lucy before, when I have these expectations of how things are going to go, for me, it's the short term. Because I know the long term, I always get done when I want to get done. But it's like, oh, the day was going to be like this. And then, and it just throws it. And I don't blow up, but I really get like uncomfortable, and done better. But it's once again, it's a process. You just, especially in the short term, it's not going to make a difference in the long term.
Mhm.
And, you know, acceptance, malleability, those are awesome qualities, going with the flow. Obviously, you don't have to accept everything that happens to you. Sometimes you do have to fix it and right the ship, of course, but asking yourself too, like, is this really a big deal?
Yeah.
Is this really life altering is certainly a good thing to ask. And we're all, we all do that as well.
I've referenced this scripture so often, like in the last 6 months, that it's becoming one of my favorite live by type of scriptures. I mentioned it in last week's episode, Matthew 6:27.
Yes.
Who by being anxious can add an hour to their life. And with all of my own plans going awry, short or long term, no matter the menial or the severity of the goal or expectation, that is what I always come back to, and I think that's why I'm no longer as hot-headed and temperamental as I used to be,
Mhm.
is because now I truly do just say, like, I just have to follow him. You know, I love watching The Chosen. I think it was Matthew in The Chosen who says to someone he's talking to, just like, your only job is to follow him.
Mm.
And so it's just like I go back to that scripture and it just no matter how haywire these plans have gone, I try to fall back on that and just be like, it's okay. There's no need for me to just beat myself to death over it. Move on. The Lord's going to figure it out.
Well, I think Jesus said that one for present day Americans because our lives are so hectic and fast and all this stuff we got to do, and yeah, I mean, it's easy to get very anxious. It's easy to get very anxious.
If you're an anxious person
Expectations.
though, if you get a lot of stress that builds up very fast and it pours into your relationships and it pours into your vocation and it cuts into your time with the Lord, like all the distractions we just laid out in front of us today, pray on that and realize that that anxiety is just not productive in any sense. It's not leading you to heaven. It's not getting you closer to God, closer to anything. So
Hmm,
let it go, man. Trust God.
yep. All right, I got to talk about this one a little bit. Most of the things we've talked about so far aren't huge issues for me. The phone is certainly something, and TV can be a little bit. The thing in my life right now that pulls me away from things I need to do is just fatigue. Just
Wow.
being freaking tired, man. And right now, the season of life we're in, it's mainly because of interrupted sleep. Dads and moms, we with you there. We feel you. We do. We're both kind of getting out of that season a little bit. It's getting better. You know, David waxes and wanes a little bit, but he's been doing pretty well the past few days. Teething, y'all know.
No one
But
warns you
like
about the hills and
hills and
valleys.
valleys, hills and valleys. But like when you're exhausted, that is by far the most challenging time to like what keeps me getting up from the gym in the morning? Feeling exhausted. What keeps me from the morning holy hour I try to go to once a week instead of the gym? Feeling exhausted. What, keeps, we'll be playing a rosary and Lucy might start to fall asleep even because she's exhausted,
Mhm.
and the repetitive prayer and she's getting, comfortable on the couch and, we always make it through, no worries. But um, it's, it's tricky. And it's hard. It's hard to feel exhausted. It's hard to feel like you haven't slept well in 4 or 5 nights in a row,
Yeah.
and getting your butt out of bed. It's hard. I think about the quote that from Exodus that they talk about, oh goodness, it was Saint, Maria Escriva,
Mhm.
and
Jose Maria.
yeah, Jose Maria, thank you. Jose Maria Escriva. Um, he always talked about offering up that, the minute the alarm goes off, get up, get out of bed, and offering that up. That's like the take it or leave it, now or never kind of hour. It's a moment of bravery to just get up and not hit snooze. And I think that's really true. I think that's kind of cool and beautiful, to be honest. But it's also really, really hard. And like if I've gotten the uninterrupted sleep, I can do it 98% of the time for sure, definitely. And maybe I'm not cutting myself enough slack because of the season that we're in. Obviously, I'm not the one who nurses even too, but like it's just that disrupted sleep. It's hard and it makes you slack on the prayer. It makes you slack with the gym because like I'm better when I get up and exercise. I
Oh,
am. I
for
know. Yeah,
sure.
and it just affects me, and that's not an easy fix. And what I'm getting at, obviously, when you're in the infant stuff and you're getting interrupted sleep, you have to wade through it. Some days you just have to power through it. Other days you have to say, no, no, it's okay. Plan to not go maybe this day and catch up a
Right.
little bit. You have to do that. You have to take care of yourself because you'll crash. You'll get sick. You'll get angry. You'll get resentful. Don't do that to yourself. But if you're not in the newborn, sleep deprivation phase, it's all on you. Like if you're that tired, it can be for a few reasons. If it's sleep, then you need to go to bed earlier. Like you need to cut out the episode of the show, cut out the video games, cut out watching the whole Monday Night Football game. Like you got to cut that stuff out. Stop going to bed at 10:30, go to bed at 9:30, go to bed at 9. You got to do it. Or if you are going through, every day and you just have obligation after obligation after obligation, you might need to cut back. You might need to
Right.
start saying no. And that's hard, but like it is okay. Just say, I'm sorry. No, I can't do that. No, I don't have time for it. It's, can't do every single thing. And if every single one of your obligations are keeping you from spending time with the Lord or they're driving you crazy or running you down, then, you know, you don't have to do it all. You don't. You don't have to do it all. So I want to offer some encouragement there and give people permission to like be tired and feel tired and know that they don't have to do it all.
If you feel like Alex is challenging you a little bit, you're not alone because I've struggled with this too. And to me, is like I feel like if you get too used to making compromises every time you're tired, it becomes so easy.
That's so true. Yeah.
So like I could have a pretty good night of sleep for a father of a toddler, and maybe I had to get up at midnight
Sure.
and I was only in the nursery to check on him for maybe 5 minutes and I was back in bed. I can get in such a bad rut with that fatigue where just that interruption of my sleep, I still might get 8 hours of sleep,
Hmm.
probably closer to 6, but still get a quality night of sleep. But in my head, I'm like, I'll go ahead and I'll turn off my alarm to get off and run just because I woke up during the
Right.
night, just because I've made that excuse. But guess what? The mornings, few and far between as they are, where I am tired, but I still get up and run. Like you said, like I'm just a
Oh yeah.
better person. I might be twice as exhausted at the end of the day, but
Sure.
I'm gonna have a good night of sleep.
Yep.
But that's so bad for me. And like you said, sleep is improving. Thank you. But fatigue, man, that's a really good answer to what distracts us. It's it's a bitch. It's sorry, excuse me, but it is, man. It's tough. And there are nights when I mentioned liturgy of the hours during the evening or the bedtime prayer. And there are nights when like I'm so tired that I'll get in bed, my head will hit the pillow, while my wife is, brushing her teeth or whatever. She'll get in bed and like a great spiritual companion say, "Hey, we've got to do our prayer." And the first thought in my head is, "Oh my gosh, I was about to fall asleep. You got to be kidding me."
Mm,
And I still get up and I say it and I'm happy that I do. But I shouldn't have that thought. Like that's how much that fatigue can creep into my head and
absolutely.
just let me create excuses to not only be a good husband or father or friend,
Hmm.
but even a good follower of Christ. Like
Yep.
that there's some spiritual warfare, I believe, that goes into some of
Absolutely.
that thought process as well.
Absolutely.
Great answer, my man.
Yeah, we're much more tempted and affected when we're tired like that.
Yeah.
So it's a good reason to take care of yourself, um, but also be aware, know what's going on, know your tendencies, know what's happening, and like we talked about a little earlier, have a plan, set goals
Mhm.
and expectations for yourself, and if they get a little derailed, like we said, don't sweat it. Life happens. Um, there is always tomorrow. Hardest thing is getting started.
That's
Say that to
right.
my patients all the time. You just got to get started. Um, and don't overexert yourself at first. Start small and grow. Really pick something you like, love, and cling to that devotion or that prayer time. Make a space for it too, physically where you are, where you feel, like you are sitting with God in some way, and then let it grow. See how it blossoms. It'll be good.
I want to hear from some listeners. I truly do. If you agree with some of the things that we've said, if you struggle with some of the things that we've said, if you disagree with some of the things that we say, hit us in the comments, DM us, whatever. But I would love to know if you have something that we didn't touch on in this episode. I do want to know about it because chances are we probably struggle with it too and just didn't have the time to come up with it. But definitely would love some feedback and to see where you guys are at with some of this stuff. So hit us up. We love hearing from you guys. And before we roll into challenges, I just want to remind everybody first, happy Valentine's Day.
I
This
guess.
will be coming out just about that time. So do something sweet for your significant others. Get some flowers. I'm horrible at buying flowers for my wife. I don't do it often enough. But y'all know, support our show prayerfully, first and foremost. As we pray for you, pray for us. And like you said, hit us up with your prayer intentions too. Can't wait to pray a rosary for you guys. Anything that you might need. But yep, Word on Fire. Hit them up. Buy some great stuff. Little kickback for your boys here freezing their buns off in the garage. T-shirts on the website, man. We're gonna put up a couple of new merch items that I'm pretty excited about as well. So y'all check that out on our website, thecatholicdadpod.com. But Birch, challenge time.
Alrighty. Obviously got to keep with the theme, no doubt. There's too many good things here. So for me, a little pre-Lenten challenge, I guess, but for the next week, whichever app you visit the most that you don't need, just don't go on it. End of story. That's it.
I like that
Pretty
one.
straightforward. Just whichever one bothers you the most or distracts you the most, just don't go on it for the week. That's it.
Yep, I'm doing that one. That's going to be a challenge, but I'm doing that one for sure. I'm going to say what you said about 10 minutes ago. No snooze button this week.
Nice.
0 snoozes. Get up and get a prayer in as soon as you wake up, drop to your knees and just thank the Lord. And if you're blessed enough to wake up next to a significant other every day, do it with them.
Nice.
There you go.
All right.
I think that's it, man.
Sounds great. We appreciate you guys. Love y'all. You have our prayers always. And yeah, everybody have a great week. God bless. We will see you soon in the garage. Peace.
Yeah, you finally got it right this time.
You led me, so appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you were terrible at it last
It was bad. It was a bad one. All right, just a touch left. It had the right arc on it for sure.